Macheledt up next. Marshall, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yep. Pull up a chair, have a seat. We'll talk here at Shane's. The reason I talked to Coach Johnson, I want to get Marshall involved in this. I was watching a game at the Coliseum that was back on Monday.
Right.
And I'd heard about you before through Caldwell Academy back in the day. Followed you there some, and they got information about your score and the work you did. And I was watching Monday. I said, this kid's interesting because you would be in the game, and then it'd be time for you to come out of the game. Marshall walks down the line. He smacks the hand of every player down that bench, all the way to the guy on the very end of the bench, smacks his hand. You get the water from the little girl with the scarf. Every time she gets water, thank you. I just like that decorum. You handle yourself so well.
Yes.
I mean, you approach this game from a professional approach.
Oh yes, I take every game professionally. I thank my teammates because before the game even starts, it's the practices, and we push ourselves hard in practice. And I can't thank my teammates enough for pushing me to the level I'm at right now. And so I also thank the managers because I know it might not be an easy job for them to do, and so I thank them for being there. I thank them for coming out, and I just thank my coaches because my coaches are going to get on me because I'm going to be messing up, but they're doing that because they care. They know that I can get better from it, and so I really am humbled by just so many people around me to help me out.
So you're learning a lot this year too. You made the transition, went from Caldwell to Greensboro Days. So that's kind of a big decision because you made it your senior year, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, and also from a basketball standpoint because I was going from Caldwell when I was a starter to then coming off the bench at GDS. So at first it was a hard role to get acclimated to, but I feel like I developed the sense that I'm either going to be out there for either 2 minutes or I'm going to be out there for the rest of the quarter. But what matters is that what I can contribute in that time span.
Exactly. Tell you one thing, you've got some good practice competition too.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Man, this guy is tough.
He is tough, and I love him to death. He's a great guy, and I think it not only makes me better, but it makes him better as a post player.
Because he's a different type of post player. He doesn't see a guy 6'5" or 6'6". He sees a guy 6'8", tall and lean, who can move around, and that makes him change and work on his game.
Yes, it does, and we always battle out. We've been battling out since before the season even started, and I was getting on him, and he was getting on me, and we've just become so close because of that, and I couldn't ask for a better post teammate.
It's a good thing. The coaches talk about the two-headed monster. Greensboro Days got a pretty good two-headed monster here.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Tomorrow night may be a little bit different, though, against Wesley, and that's your big game tomorrow night, because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like I'm right, but I'll go ahead and clarify it. Harry Giles not playing, so you won't see the big man you guys would have normally have seen.
Right. Yes, but we still have to deal with Donovan, who is also and Coach said it once, he said it 1,000 times, we got to box him out. We got to make sure he can't get any second chance points on the offensive boards, and we got to make sure that we do the same on the defensive end. And we got to make sure he's away, make sure where he is on the transition, both ends of the transition. He can run the court very well. I played with him, I practiced with him over the summer, I worked out with him, I've seen him play a little bit, and it's going to be a good matchup.
Where did you guys work out and train together?
We worked out at Perfect Park. There was a good agility and speed training that really made us better as far as moving without the ball and moving with our feet. And I know for me, because before I did the Perfect Park training, my lateral movement was really bad. It was really below average, and I can and now that we're into January, I definitely see an improvement. And it made Pete better too, made all the teammates better, and that's when we really started to become a good family, because it all started with the early workouts.
Yeah, the all-season training.
Yes, all-season training, exactly.
Think about Gilmore, kind of like you in some ways. You made the transition from Caldwell to day school this year. Gilmore was, I thought his career somewhat. He was at Northeast, went to Western, and I think he went back to Northeast and then on over to Western. This man's been around too.
Yeah, yes, he has, and I have heard him before he went to Wesleyan, and we get to end both of our senior years playing against each other, the two biggest stages, at Wesleyan and at Greensboro Day, and I just can't wait.
How about the change of stages? Not a detriment toward Caldwell program, but the change of stage.
Oh boy.
Going from Caldwell to Greensboro Day, you're playing a tougher level of competition because you're in a higher classification among the independent schools. Plus, you're also, when you play that game tomorrow night, you're playing in front of a sold-out crowd. It's going to be crazy.
It's honestly, to date, probably the biggest high school game I have played in my whole career. And playing home games at Dillard Gymnasium, there's no better atmosphere, in my opinion. I love having Bengal Nation.
How did you like that High Point Christian game?
Oh, yes, I loved it. The crowd was hyped, and Bengal Nation was wild, and I could just feel that we were going to win, and we stuck through it, and we came out as a team, and we all just took care of business.
You got a good team this year, kind of a different Greensboro Day School team. Not maybe as big as they were some years, but boy, the guards, you got 4 guards and a big man pretty much this year, it seems like to me.
Yes, that was a big transition, working with 4 smaller guards, but we've been able to handle ourselves against tougher opponents and taller opponents.
You played well against Page.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a big thing, stopping those 2 guys. And Trevor, Brian, Mac, those guys are great defenders. Darius is a great defender. Paul's a great defender. Will's a great defender. I couldn't ask for better guards.
We always call him Little Will because Will back when he was younger with Reggie, but Little Will grabs a nice rebound. He snatches rebound.
He snatches
the difference, I think, in Little Will and Reggie was a little bit bigger, a little bit more size-wise. It seemed like he may have stayed outside a little bit more of an outside shooter. Little Will seems like he loves to go to the basket.
Oh, yes, he is. And I also like that I see him sometimes after practice because, he's the kind of guy that would say after practice, and he'd work on his jump shot, work on his three-point, and he's developing such a great game, and at such a young age. I still can't believe when people tell me he's in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I get to play with him, too, so it's a great feeling to be with him.
How has your game improved over the years? I mean, coming along as a younger guy, were you always, I know back in the 6th grade, 7th grade, you weren't 6'8" back then.
Oh, no. How
has your size development taken place, and how's your game improved over the years?
Well,
when did you start to grow like this?
Well, that was a good question. I did start to grow a lot in the 9th and 10th grade summers, and fortunately, I didn't have any knee injuries or any height-related injuries that could alter my coordination.
No growth plate problems, anything like that.
I had a few ankle problems earlier in my high school career, but I was able to stay coordinated. I kept all of the basic concepts of my basic skill sets intact, and I've just been blessed to be in my senior year and not have a really big injury so far. Knock on wood, but
Now, how many minutes do you talk about the stretches you play in a game? Because you're kind of coming in to spell Peter Ogba.
Yes.
How long are these stretches? 2-3 minutes, sometimes longer?
Well, like I said earlier, sometimes it can range from 2 minutes, and sometimes it can range to the end of the quarter. It all comes down to, the coaches are put me out there for a reason, and that reason is that they need me to answer the call, and I always have my head up, and I keep telling myself that I'm going to answer that call. And when I come out, and everybody's clapping, the team's standing up, I just feel proud of what I was able to contribute.
Like I say, when I saw you come down that bench when you come out of the game, smacking all the players' hands and the water from the kid, that type thing. I mean, you handled it so well. And this guy, he is very well focused on what's going on here.
Yes, and that really also is a team effort too, because we need to be focused as a team, and we need to be mentally engaged as a team. And the bench is also need to be very supportive of the guys on the floor. They need to be standing up, cheering them, clapping them on, and encouraging them. And
because people are watching, and your teammates are watching too. If you're doing it, then it's going to spread to them. And like you say, you got to be mentally engaged. I like when you said that you've got to be mentally engaged and into that game at all times.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Yes.
What's the future hold for you as far as down the road comes? Marshall Macheledt, you've got a lot going in your favor, your advantage. What do you do with all this?
Well,
you kind of remind me, I hate to say, you kind of remind me of a Plumlee in some ways. I've seen this 6 foot, this guy's like a Plumlee. Maybe he's waiting to expand even more and kind of taking a Plumlee role. I mean, are you going to Duke, or where are you going to go?
As far as locally, as in the ODAC conference, I have. I'm looking at Washington Lee, Randolph-Macon, and Guilford College. Those are 2 really good basketball schools and 3 really good universities outside of the.
I'd say you couldn't ask for I'm not trying to go overboard and plug somebody, but you couldn't ask for a better big man operation in Guilford College. But they had a kid, Tyler Sanborn, a few years ago.
I remember him.
They had Big Ben out of Chapel Hill. Big Ben was the kind of the Native American Indian kid.
Yeah, I remember him.
It might have been Ben King, Ben's last name, but they had back-to-back big men, just unreal. You thought when the one guy left, you thought when Ben graduated and Tyler was going to take over, maybe a drop-off, Tyler became better than Ben did in the big man role.
Well, I know Coach Kimbrough very well. I actually, the first time he was actually the first college coach to see me play, but it was back in 8th grade. But I've been able to keep in touch with him. He's a really great guy and a Guilford's a good option for me too. I mean, it's a great university. It's got a great post basketball program.
It does. And the kid Matt Stafford that went there, the kid from Calvary Baptist, he wouldn't put in the same type of numbers and same type of career that the other guys did, but he also gave them a good lift in the post position. He was the guy who had like a beard maybe back when he was in like fourth grade. But I know you can't help but remember him too.
Yes. Guilford's just been able to make what people thought in high school were good post players into so much better post players, and it's a really tough choice between me. I got that school. I got two other good schools in the ODAC, Randolph-Macon and Washington Lee. Outside of the ODAC, I have Emerson College, which is up in Boston, and Baldwin-Wallace, which is up in up near Cleveland. It's south of Cleveland in a city called Obrea. And also, I got a great academic offer from Duquesne. So the option the option to walk on their team is also there too. So I have a lot of great options, and I couldn't ask for a better situation.
Duquesne has a good basketball history, but you got to go back several years.
Yes.
There's some good basketball history.
Yes, and like I said, I have that good D1 experience offer. I also have great D3 because I'm trying to find schools that have the major that I want, which would be journalism. I wanted to be a visual broadcaster.
You could do it.
Yes.
Yeah, you could do it.
I definitely see myself doing that, and to find so many great matches around the country, let alone even in the eastern United States alone, it's just a really good feeling to have.
How about the big man coach at Greensboro Day School? Is it still Jeff Smith?
It is still Coach Smith.
He doesn't look like he's a big man himself. He's a little bit bigger than he used to be size-wise, weight-wise, but boy, he is a very intense kind of guy and a hard-driving, hard-working coach.
Oh, he definitely gets on you if you. And again, he says it because he does it because he cares, and he knows that you're smarter than the stupid mistake that you made here or the mistake you made there, and he gets on me a lot, but I like it. I feed off of that, and I get better. And he encourages me. He encourages everybody, and he's a really great guy to have.
Had some good big men come through there too, and Jeff has done a great job working with him.
Yes.
One guy who got lost in the shuffle somewhere. I have to ask Coach Johnson about this guy. Johnny Thomas. Remember Johnny Thomas?
Oh, I remember Johnny Thomas.
NC State a few years back. Yeah.
Yes.
And he had the other kid who came up here, who moved here from down around New Orleans, Louisiana, when Hurricane Katrina came through. He came up. I can't remember that kid's name, but Jeff worked with that guy because that guy was a McDonald's All-American nominee. We have to go back and pull his name up.
Okay.
Might be like Javon, maybe Javon.
Javon Mitchell?
That's it.
Javon Mitchell.
J-A-V-A-N, Javon Mitchell. That guy was an excellent big man.
He was. I remember him.
He was from the Delta region, came here during the Hurricane Katrina time, and I think he went back there.
He went back to Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette?
Maybe,
was that what
yeah. But he was another big man Jeff worked with. And that guy, like we said, was a McDonald's All-American.
Yes. Coach Smith has had a great history of working with great postmen, and to be a part of working with Coach Smith is a really great honor to have.
Do you have any other big men over there we're talking about? We're talking about yourself and also talking about Peter Ogba. Anybody else?
We have...
because Peter's a junior, right?
Peter is a junior. We also have another junior named Hunter Coleman.
You got another guy, too. I can throw my hands up. Remember this kind of Trey Weston?
Yes, Trey Weston. I was about to get to him. He's he's a fellow senior of mine, and I work with him a lot in practice. He and I go at it almost as much as me and Peter go at it, and he's a really good defender. It's really hard to get a shot up over him because he has those long arms, and he's developed into a pretty great defender off the ball.
Are you the kind of guy, because I asked Jeff about this a few years ago, because going back to the old days, still thinking about the old center who liked to play with his back to the basket. Is that you, or are you more of a fluid center or a postman? Don't call him a center. Centers are gone.
Right.
We're all talking 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 talking post, but do you like to spread out and play across around the baseline, the backside area?
I really like working box to box, and occasionally I do like that box to elbow flashes because I feel like that whole paint is just a big canvas, and I can just paint whatever kind of picture I want with it. I can do whatever I want with it, and to be able to have such a structured and be able to be developed into such a post player where I can be a threat on the box or can be a threat on the elbow. I just am really glad that I've been working on that.
Well, you kind of filled a void because I like to kind of remember all the players that came through these systems. Because there was a guy at Greensboro today who I thought might play some this year, but he left there, went to Bishop McGinnis, doing good over there. Will Gardner. Will Gardner made the move, but Will's doing fine over there because Spencer Wilson just hit that long shot last week, the 50-footer, and Will made the pass to him. But again, you kind of came around for Greensboro today. It was good for you, the move. Yes. It also came at a good time for them, too.
Yes, I worked out. I was in a summer tournament with them at Northwest, and even then I knew that it was a great choice. Even back in June, I knew it was a great choice. And the time came around in November when we started practices, and the first practices of the first week of November are always the toughest because you feel a little bit out of shape and you got a big game coming up, and the coaches are really on you, probably more than they usually would be. And I actually enjoyed it. It was a great situation I was in. I was just glad to finish my senior year at Greensboro Day.
I tell you what, going to the bigger stage, a chance to win the state championship, different, nothing else. You got to go to the Timco tournament, all these things that come your way because being with the Greensboro Day School Bengals and going against Wesleyan tomorrow night, that's going to be huge too.
Oh yes,
as big as anything. Huge. I mean, it's all coming out quick because I looked at your schedule after tomorrow night. I may be wrong, but I was counting barely maybe 4 or 5 games regular season left. This thing's about to leave here.
I actually, yes, and one of those is we only have 2 home games left, including the Wesleyan game tomorrow. The last home game happens to be senior night. We're ending the regular season on a 3-game road trip too. So we've got to keep our heads focused. We can't be worrying about conference and state because we've got to finish off the regular season strong. We got to be able to get our home wins taken care of, and we have to steal key road games.
You got to go to High Point Christian.
Right, next Tuesday. That's our next game too. And then Wesleyan's just a day after, about 2 days after senior night too. So even though I'm going to have butterflies in my stomach on senior night, and it's going to be very emotional.
And who is that going to be again? Against
Davidson Day senior night on the 5th of February.
I wish they would bring Will Greer up here from Davidson Day. Have you heard of him? They're great, outstanding young quarterback. I think he's going to Florida.
Oh, really?
I don't think he plays basketball, but I know he's going to Florida. He's like the top football player in the entire state.
Wow.
Gatorade Player of the Year, Will Greer. Yeah, he got all that from Davidson Day, going to be with the Florida Gators. I wish he doesn't play basketball, but his brother he's done pretty well down there too. But that's just a different story. But Davidson Day is now in your conference, which that catches a lot of people off guard too.
And also Davidson Day, I played against them at Caldwell, so I played against Davidson Day at least once every year at high school. So it hasn't gotten old playing against them, and they're always a tough team. You always have to be ready to play against Davidson Day, whether you are at Dillard Gymnasium or you are at Davidson Day. And we're just got to be ready to play against all the teams in our conference for that matter.
At Caldwell, did you get to play against New Garden Friends?
I did occasionally. I don't think I got the chance to play them my junior year, but I think sophomore and freshman I got to play against them.
That's kind of an up-and-coming private school too, as far as basketball talent goes.
It is as far as basketball talent. It's but the future, it's whatever holds for them. I don't know.
Yeah, man. At Caldwell, I remember I came to the Caldwell Vandalia game last year. Yeah.
Last year? Oh, right. Okay.
Remember the Vandalia game? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Ethan Willis. You may not remember Willis. He was the big man for Vandalia. I think they may have knocked you guys off.
Was it at the Calvary Baptist tip-off tournament?
That was a regular season game at your place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that, and I do remember, now that you mention it, I do remember him, the big man, and I was actually glad because, believe it or not, last year at Caldwell, I played against some great postmen too. And I played postmen that were bigger than me, and I played post guys that were taller than me, and at times smarter than me. They were able to get baskets off. And I think that definitely prepared me because I was playing against this big guy from Asheville Christian. I was playing against Northside Christian, and also the guy from Vandalia Christian. And I think that prepared me to play against big guys like Peter, big guys like Donovan for this year.
Have you played, or you guys playing Christ School this year, Greensboro Day? Do you face them?
We actually played Christ School the first game of the season.
Did you play against the big man? I think his name is Bridges, big number 32.
Yes, I know you're talking about.
I think he's going to UNCG from what I hear. He's a big guy.
He is a big guy.
Saw him against
Mount Tabor
at the MLK game. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Big man there. Had to have success against him?
Yes. It just so happened to be the first game of the season. I have butterflies in my stomach. I'm going up against a 6'10" guy, and he's built like a wall. And I remember taking an elbow from him as one of the first few possessions. And I'm just like, well, I got to get back up and I got to fight him off. And he packs packs a punch, and we were able to hold them in Christ School off our first win of the season. But it was a great team, and he's a great player too, no doubt about it.
Let's go back and recap this season. You can help us a lot on this. I hope you can, because Greensboro Day School's women, they're like 22-2, and
yes.
the men, you guys are like what, 21-2, right?
Right. Yes.
And who? I mean, here's the big question, because I can't think back to this now. Who actually beat you guys this year? Because you won the Timco, and you haven't lost many games recently. Who did you lose to?
Well, our most recent loss came to Providence Day.
Okay.
And that was at Providence Day. It was down to the wire, and it came down to us losing by 2 points. Then we lost to a really good team in Fayetteville by 10. I think it was Village Christian.
Gotcha,
I think it was Village Christian. Now I remember. That was our second game of the season too. We were just off that day. Everybody was off, and it just ended up being for Village Christian to win that game. But we came back after those two losses. We knew that we had to get our heads on straight. We had to look at the goal ahead, and we've been fortunate enough to be winning our games.
It's been a good year.
Yes,
I'm thinking about this.
Totally
you look back
agree.
at it, you lose guys like John Terry, Christian Harrison,
Reggie Dillard, yes.
and on you go. You lost a lot from last year's team, and you guys come back playing like you are this year. It says a lot for what Greensboro Day is doing this year.
Yes, we knew that losing those key seniors last year were going to be a tough transition, but we were able, thankfully, to find an alternative way to handle the season. We've been handling it pretty well.
You got it pretty well.
Yes.
Darius Morris had a very good job. I'm just thinking about Darius bouncing that ball, running that offense out front. He has done a very good job for you.
Yes, I've known Darius since he was in 7th grade, but he probably doesn't remember that far back. But I definitely remember him coming here his first year at GDS, and I knew from when he was in 7th grade that he was going to be one of the best point guards to come through Greensboro Day. I strongly believe that. He's a great point guard. He's a great leader on and off the court.
He's really zoned in to what's going on out there. You can tell by his facial expression. Sometimes a smile, sometimes a frown, kind of showing you what's going on during the course of the game.
And we really do need that. We need somebody who's like, after a really tough call by the ref or a really bad foul by somebody to put them into deep foul trouble, we need somebody like Darius who brings the team together and says, guys, we know that happened. We can't change it. This is what we need to do. Let's set up in this defense and let's take this possession.
And Brian Rouse is having a very good year too.
Brian Rouse,
very active around that basket.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's so explosive. He's definitely one of the fastest players I've played with, and he has that great mid-range jumper with a 2-dribble pull-up, and it's almost unguardable. And he's a great guy, and I'm happy to have him.
What about you got the big game tomorrow night, and this thing is leaving, like you said, pretty quickly. This season coming to a fast finish. What are you looking to do down this stretch run as far as yourself goes and for the team? Now, you probably missed my senior year. I've got to get some things done here and work on some things. What do you want to do for yourself the rest of the way?
Well, as for myself, I feel that I can always give more. I can always give more off the bench. I feel like I can always be better defensively. I feel like sometimes I let a few plays go. Sometimes I take...
You don't take any plays off.
No, I don't take any plays off, that's for sure. But sometimes I just let something get away with me and it gets into my head.
Right.
One of my biggest things, especially leading up to before the Timco game, I was for some reason I was just really worried and about all my mistakes that I've been making. Coach Johnson just said, Marshall, I know it's Timco, but it's a Timco, but just have fun out there, you know. And if you make a mistake, everybody makes mistakes. Collegiate, high school, and pro level, everybody makes mistakes, and you just have to worry about the next play. And I've been able to develop that mentality, and I feel like I need to make it stronger.
So you've had some good blocks. I don't know if it was your blocker. Man, I think you had a thud block in a game the other day. The thud block to me is like when the ball barely gets halfway up when the guy's shot. Remember the thud block?
Yes, I do remember the thud block. Fortunately, it was able to be a clean block. There was no foul. I do know that in the back of their minds, the coaches were thinking that against other opponents, you might have to take a charge. And I know that I need to be careful when to take a charge and when I know that I can have the ability ability to swat it.
You definitely took care of that one. No doubt about that. I'm sure that gave you a lot of energy. And
It did. I was pumped.
Too.
I was pumped, and all my teammates gathered around me. They were high-fiving me. It was a great
feeling. The crazy
feeling.
thing is, this day and time I may be wrong, but it seems like it's gone this way the past couple of years. It seems like these days the block actually generates more excitement and enthusiasm sometimes than the dunk does. The block is a big part of this game these days.
Oh yes, I mean
maybe sometimes it goes too far, but it is a big part of what's going on.
Yeah, and sometimes dunks can be like expected from the crowd. Like if there's like a breakaway and it's like Will Dillard or Peter Ogba, or Brian Rouse, you can expect there's going to be a big.
If they don't do it, something's wrong, right?
Right. If they don't do it, something's wrong. Right. And so when you have a big key block by myself or Peter or even some of the guards can be pretty good shot blockers. It just really gets the crowd going, and I think it carries a really good block that stays in balance can lead to a great momentum on the consecutive offensive
Here's a good
drive.
example, the block story, and I'm not knocking this kid, but this kid was outstanding. But when he was younger, his blocking game was a game I'm sure he tried to want to improve upon and change the direction of his blocks. Jacob Lawson, who played for Northern Guilford, played for Oak Ridge Military Academy, went on, I think he took the college scholarship maybe to Purdue. Now he's at Appalachia, maybe out this year, injury or still getting settled in after a transfer. His blocks used to be, man, I'm going to swat it in the stands. The swat in the stands looks great. Doesn't do you any good, though. The team gets the ball back.
Actually, one of my assistant coaches told me that earlier in the season. It's a Marshall. I mean, it's a crowd pleaser. Everybody wants it, but you got to learn to actually be smart and try and get the ball to one of your teammates, as if you're trying to save the ball from getting out of bounds.
And keep it in play.
Yeah, keep it in play
Going
too.
to your team. I mean, you swat it in the stands.
Right.
Great, but man, the other guy gets the ball back. He's going to try to find the next play. And you're still trying to get over the fact you just blocked it, so it's going to be hard for you to play defense again anyway.
Right, that's true. It's you actually bring up a good point. That's a really good point about the block, and I definitely will. It's definitely a trait that all post players need to be aware of. Where your teammates are, even when you're about to block it.
Yeah. Say what you will. I still like that thud block. It was a good one.
I still like it too.
That may have come in an MLK game, did it?
It did. It was on the MLK against Dudley.
It was on the far end of the court down here.
Yes, it was. It was on the left box, and the guard came off. I think it was a high ball screen. He was coming down the elbow, and he pulled up a little short, and I was able to cover up the space that he was supposed to gain, and I just lifted my hand and hoped that I hit the ball.
Going in, people may have been thinking, looking at Dudley's record based upon this season, going into this Greensboro Day School game at the MLK game back on Monday, may have been thinking, well, Greensboro Day is going to beat these guys by 30, 35, maybe 20, 25. They have to at least beat them by that much. Dudley gave you guys a good game.
Oh,
you played well and finished well, but they gave you some good competition.
Absolutely.
They were like you said, a handful.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We said in the locker room that Dudley, nothing would please Dudley more than beating GDS, and especially beating the Timco champions.
And after they had not played each other for a long time.
Right. I do remember that there was a stretch of a few years, and we knew that coming out of the gate, we needed to be ready. We needed to be mentally focused and engaged, and that's what we need to take to every game. It's not just Wesleyan, it's not just High Point, it's Dudley, it's Forsyth, it's Calvary, it's all the teams we've been playing this year. We need to take each game the same way, and we need to be focused and mentally engaged.
I'll tell you one, there was some good matchups inside. I was telling somebody about it yesterday, the day before. Peter Ogba, yourself, and others going against Khalil Vance from Dudley. He's a tough hombre in there.
He's a really tough guy. We knew that he was going to be a factor in the Dudley offense, and he started out strong, and we were trying to not try and get some double team, but try and get some guys trying to swipe at the ball too, and he's a great offensive player, and he gave us a good run.
Good run there, and a good season up to this point. Marshall, you said you're going to study in college, maybe go into that journalism.
Yes.
Maybe looking at that direction.
It's specifically broadcast journalism. I'm looking to be in front of the camera, and I just think it's a great combination because if I was able to be a sports anchor, it would combine my love for sports and as well my love for being on stage. I kind of have this a good stage presence, as you will, because I was in so many theater plays growing up as a kid, and I always loved being in front of an audience. I always loved.
I've seen some of the guys on ESPN. They kind of remind me of some of those guys in some ways.
Yes.
Some of the guys that you look at those guys, and it's like, these guys don't look like maybe the athlete that came in and just demolished somebody in a football game. But these guys are very intelligent. Their stage presence, like you say, is very
yes,
good.
yes.
Very good.
And I think that going to any grade school that I have right now on my list with a great journalism program would really set me on the right path towards that goal of being a great sports anchor.
You think ESPN may be a possibility one day?
Oh, definitely.
Back of your mind?
That is definitely.
Are you addicted to the Sports Center? Watch that quite a bit?
I do like Sports Center. I like ESPN News too because it's about 30 minutes long, so I was able to still get all that I would.
Do you like to watch those programs, not only get the scores? Do you like to watch it to see what the anchors and guys are doing?
That's a really good point too, because it's so much more than the scores, because you can just look that up on the internet.
Sure.
It's how these guys deliver it that I really like.
Yeah, it's good because you bring that. That's a good point. It's not only how the teams that played the games that night delivered, it's how the guys who were giving the information, how they deliver.
It makes it even more exciting watching an alley-oop or a dunk when somebody gives like a really cool catchphrase to it.
Yeah, it is, and I find myself watching sometimes at night. I try to watch as many little sports broadcasts as I can to get the information, plus see what these different anchors are up to. Even these local TV stations. You can watch I guess 2 or 3, maybe 4 at one time.
Yes.
Easily.
Yeah. And I think that each individual sports anchor brings their own personality in front of the camera, and it's really cool to see even on ESPN that there's just so many personalities and they still work together as a unit.
Who impresses you? I won't say the most. Who impresses you a lot watching those guys on ESPN? Who do you really enjoy watching? Who impresses you quite a bit?
Ooh, I would say Kevin Nagandi. I really like him. He cracks some jokes, and at the same time, those jokes also are proving points in his argument for sports. And I love that when he makes points like that. He works a lot with Hannah Storm, who I also like.
Hannah's interesting. I remember her back in the day, man. She was a younger woman. She's older now, but she's really stayed in the game and stayed in the game well.
Yes. I do remember about her career being, she's been in the business for a while.
Interesting point on her back in the old days, back in my younger days. The ABA, her father was the ABA commissioner, Mike Storin.
Really?
And her name was like Hannah Storin, and she got to Charlotte, the story goes, and went on TV in Charlotte doing sports, became Hannah Storm, and she had an accident about a year or so. Did you hear about the accident she had she was cooking some of the soap and it blew up in her face? Her whole face got burned up.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I had to take her to the doctor, get it reconstructed, and she came back.
That's terrible.
And she's doing great now.
That's
just
great.
amazing what she's done. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I totally agree with you.
Yep. Well, if you had any practice doing some of those things, these stage productions, you've done some of those in.
I have done some of those, but I knew going into senior year I had to make a choice. I had to be all in on basketball, or I had to split the commitment. And I knew that senior year with my classes and with the basketball, just being you have to commit to GDS basketball, and you have to be all in on it. So I just said, Marshall, I just can't do a senior play this year. So maybe a spring play when the season's over, but as far as during basketball season, I had to go with GDS.
What's been the biggest sports story of the week? Let's hit you there. Let's see what your opinion is, and I'll tell you what I've been thinking about hearing about this. What's been the biggest sports story of this week?
Biggest sports story of this week, I would say definitely the NFC Championship game between the 49ers and the Seahawks. And probably the play you're thinking of too is when the final play of the game, Sherman comes up and he blocks the pass. And I'm standing up. I'm going wild because I was a Seahawks fan. I loved their defense. I loved Sherman. And then he walks over to Crabtree and he shows a little unsportsmanlike conduct.
I'm even thinking beyond that play. The play was huge. I'm thinking what happened after the play.
Oh, yes, too. And then the post-game interview with Aaron Andrews. And I was just it's a great lesson for high school players to learn in any sport because you have to be focused in on the team goal, and he was kind of more on the individual goal. And during that interview,
he had the vendetta, and he had to get that across.
And he apologized the next day, and he's really thankful.
That's hard to do though, because after the fact, you apologize.
Oh,
the damage in some ways, maybe damage or whatever, but the situation has already occurred. You can't take that back.
It is, but it's great for him to have a great football coach like Pete Carroll, and I think Pete Carroll gave him a good lesson about how the team comes first, and you did this for a team goal, and that's what you need to show on your face.
After watching all this, I said the word Omaha. What do you think of?
Omaha, Peyton Manning. You know what I'm.
There you go. Yeah.
Peyton Manning. I can't. There was actually. Did you hear about this charity he had in mind? He partnered with somebody who I can't remember, but they were willing to pay $500 for every Omaha call, and he raised about $27,000 to his charity. He's a great guy. Man, it's gonna be a tough Super Bowl, man. I don't know who's gonna win.
Who are you pulling for? Pulling for the Seahawks, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I think that Richard Sherman's gonna come up with another late play. That's my prediction to seal the game, and I'm all in on Legion of Boom. I like it.
Who's your ACC basketball team?
ACC basketball team, I'm going to go with the North Carolina Tar Heels.
What's their current conference record?
It's not good.
1-4.
1-4. It's not good.
Unreal.
Not good.
But that is.
They've been in a recent. Yes, they've been in a recent slump. I grew up watching Tyler Hansborough, Raymond Felton. Well, he was on the earlier championship team, but definitely I was involved with Danny Green, Ty Lawson, and Tyler Hansborough. And then to come after what happened after that 09 championship season and how there wasn't really a good returning North Carolina team, I'm still hopeful that something will turn around for the Tar Heels, but let's just hope it's soon.
Tell you, James Michael McAdoo, who used to be James McAdoo when he came here to play in the MLK Day game at the Coliseum, I think he's still got to do a lot more for this team. He's got to become, we talked about it on this show several times before, the face of the franchise. He's got to live up to that.
Yes, I think he's been doing well, but I think he's a good player too, and it's also it also can't just be McAdoo. There has to be other contributors.
Seems like once it kind of has got to go through him. Once he gets started, the other guys are going to feed off what he's doing.
And that's even something that we talk about at Greensboro during basketball practice. That even though we've had games where like the post don't get any touches, and so the coaches will say guards. The posts aren't really going to score it every time. It would be nice to get the ball into the post because that will just shift the floor, and the post can see where the ball, where the next guy is open.
You know something though, the game against High Point Christian, if I'm not mistaken, Peter Ogba had one of his best games of the year against those guys. He must have been 15 or 16 rebounds.
He was killing it. He had a lot of points, a lot of rebounds, and I was giving him so many high fives, and I was encouraging him, and we were all encouraging him because we knew he could do it, and we had complete faith in him, and he had you're right. He had a monster game against High Point Christian.
What does Greensboro Day School need to do to lock it down and make sure they get the win and play up to their best potential in that game against Wesley tomorrow night?
For starters, we cannot allow any easy looks. We cannot allow any uncontested shots, any any easy angles to the basket. Number two, we have to be able to box out. All 5 guys need to be on the defensive rebound, and 4 guys need to be on the offensive rebound with the point guard trailing back for the defensive transition. And number 3, we have to have offensive execution.
Yeah, and you think about it, you got to also focus and say, well, we can't underestimate this team,
Absolutely.
even though Harry Giles will not be there.
Absolutely, it's a great team.
Well, Richmond may not play. He's been out most of the year too.
Right, it's still a tough call on whether he's going to be. I don't know the final statement on whether.
But you got to play.
But we have to play.
Like he's going to be there.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. It'll be interesting though. Very interesting game.
It's going to be a great game.
Theo Pinson last year, I think when they were at your place, I mean, he just was going crazy.
He had a good game. I remember that, and we just have to be prepared. We can't let him get any easy looks. We have to make sure that each shot he takes is contested. If it goes in, it goes in. But if it's not, if it doesn't go in, we need to make sure he doesn't get a second chance opportunity.
And again, you mentioned it's going to be got to keep a very close watch on Pinson.
Right.
Also Gilmore.
Right.
I guess the Buckland kid is coming.
Right. He's a great
Buckland's brother, Michael. Yeah.
Yes, he's a great shooter. We have to know where he is on the transition. On defensive transition, we need to know where he is. We need to make sure he doesn't get an open look to a three-point basket because I know that we can't allow that to happen.
And are there other names we should watch out for that you can think of right off the bat from Wesley tomorrow night?
Right off the bat, I knew that there were some players off the bench who I don't remember, but I know that in what the coaches told me that there are possible X factors to the game, and we need to be prepared for every teammate, every player that's on the
crazy thing is, I mean, you think about it, if for some reason Theo Pinson just started having a great night,
right.
He could almost take that team and carry them on his back, even if you're playing the best defense in the world.
Right.
When you guys may get in foul trouble, not to intentionally, it just happens, some things fall into place crazy. I think the game that they played, let's see, the game they played against High Point Christian, and maybe this is your first meeting with Wesleyan tomorrow night.
Yes, it will be.
They played High Point Christian. I think Pinson, one of his teammates, only had 11 each that night. They lost on a Friday. They went down to Charlotte the next day and played this team called the
Finley.
Pride team, the Pride.
Yes, Prime Prep.
Prime Prep out of Texas played that Prime Prep team, and that game went into overtime. But that night, Pinson went from 11 points Friday, 36 points, 12 rebounds. The next night against Prime Prep out of Texas, they still lost in overtime. But Prime Prep, an outstanding team, just shows what one night, and 11 points one night for Pinson may be a lot against some teams. Because this game tomorrow night may be like that. Some of these Packus games, for some reason, people always ask, what's going on? These guys are not any good anymore. They're not scoring. But the package games are so tight, the defense is so tough, you're going to have a 45-point game, a 50-point game.
Right.
That's what's going to happen because even the best players in the world, the defense is on them that night, and these games are so intense.
Yes.
You can't expect a game in 80s or 90s.
Right. We just have to be prepared. If he starts making the shots, starts making a lot of shots, I know the coach will call timeout and like adjust the defense that we've been working on in practice. And we just have to know that we're going to do our best on the defensive side, and we got to match it on the offensive side. We got to be able to execute our offensive plays that we've been working on. And it's whatever
one thing
happens,
he seems
happens.
to do now is back in his younger days, like Theo liked to stand outside around the arc and just shoot outside. One thing he does do a lot more these days as he's gotten older, take it to the hole.
Right. He's developed that driving game, and that has definitely affected how we're going to play him. We have to play him as a driver and a shooter. We can't allow an easy angle to the basket, but we also can't allow an uncontested shot.
But I guess you guys play a lot of man these days. So if you're playing man, who gets that kind of assignment? Who covers a guy like Benson? It used to be, I guess, John Terry was a huge defensive stopper for Greensboro Day last year.
He was. Trevor Mayo will probably be on Theo. He's a really great defender. And McIntyre and Marquell McIntyre and Darius and Brian will probably take the other guards. Whoever the matchups may be, I'm not so sure.
Trevor Mayo might be the defensive stopper. Yeah.
Yes.
Good,
but it's also all the other four because we need to know where our ball and where the ball and where our man is at all times. And when Theo drives, we can't just stand there and let him go. We need to be able to help and get
like Peter Ogba step up and draw a charge.
Right, exactly.
Get Theo in foul trouble instead of getting Ogba in foul trouble.
Right, exactly.
But quick feet from Trevor Mayo. He's got to have quick feet.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. He had a very good game Monday too against Dudley.
Thank you.
You did. He did too.
Yeah. We all had a great game against Dudley, and I couldn't be prouder of him. He's a great. Peter Ogba is a great teammate. He's a great defensive player, great offensive player, and he's a great guy to have.
Marshall, it's been good having you with us.
It's been great to see you.
I asked you to come over tonight with Coach Johnson. I want to get him in there just because of the good job he did coming off the floor in that game.
Thank you.
The job he did with his teammates, his player and court decorum. We got an extra bonus for you tonight. An excellent talker, sportsman of the future. Hey, just keep working on all this.
Thank you. It's really great to be here with you, and it was a nice interview, and can't wait for a great game tomorrow.
And you can listen back to this later on at the website. We've got it all lined up. It'll be on replay, plus it'll be on YouTube. This interview will be on YouTube by sometime late Friday afternoon.
Sounds great.
Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you.
Spell that last name for the people that don't know it. We got to keep this Marshall Macheledt name out there. Spell that last name for us.
It's Macheledt. Macheledt.
Macheledt, you got it. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.